The Cedric Maxwell podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, it's another episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast. I am Josue Pavone, joined by Cedric Maxwell, and Max, we gotta talk down Celtics Nation, man. I don't know where people stand 48 hours after the Marcus Smart trade, but there's still that feel, right, where people are just like, is this the right thing? And of course, if you haven't heard already, where have you been? 3-team deal. The Celtics acquire Kristaps Porzingis, pivot from the Los Angeles Clippers, which would have included Malcolm Brogdon in the deal, but instead it was Marcus Smart heading to Memphis, which is a team that showed a lot of interest in Marcus Smart. And of course, with their Ja Morant being suspended for 25 games, it's an ideal fit for the Memphis Grizzlies. But what does this mean for the Boston Celtics, acquiring Kristaps Porzingis, another 20-plus point scorer to complement Tatum and Brown, but they had to sacrifice Marcus Smart, and that's where we stand right now. This episode of Cedric Maxwell podcast. We'll break that down. We'll talk about the Chris Paul trade, but first things first, Max. What's your feel on it, man? I'm sure the last 48 hours have changed somewhat, right? What's your take?
I think initially it wasn't good, because I'm such a huge Marcus Smart fan. To lose him anyway, to me, was like something like it's like you lost support of your family. And I'm sure that's what a lot of the Celtic Nation did. Felt like, it's part of one of their own had gone. And, but, the thing you start realizing about basketball, and you have to realize it, and it's a business. I think that's the last thing I got out of talked to a couple of people who said Marcus took it really tough, being traded. He thought that, he was the last one to go. He thought he was going to be the last one on the ship.
Yeah. You want to spend his whole career in Boston.
Yeah. And then to move him, like I say, it did take a hard. I got out a tweet to him. I told him, I said, at the end of the day, you can have all these things, but you have to be also in a situation where you got to realize it's business. It's a business situation. Right. So I think that Marcus is okay now, but again, it just hurts when you think about, who he's done, who he is, and what he's done for this franchise. And I can't wait for the first night he comes back. The standing ovation.
Oh man, the tribute video. Oh yeah. Video, I hadn't even thought about that until now.
Me and my daughter, who is kind of, she's over there in the green. She's over there, with her niece. She's sitting there. Probably can't see her, but she's someplace in there. She was the first thing she says is, hell, Marcus Smart was so damn loyal. He dyed his hair green. And she said,
he's got to change that.
How did that work out for him? So I think that a lot of people are looking at it in a situation that it is tough. It's very tough. But now let's go on the other side. What does Kristaps Porzingis, what does he bring to the table? He's a 20-point game scorer. He's a guy who probably is going to score where the Celtics really got hurt, where they didn't get easy baskets in the paint.
Yeah.
And you think of that, you think that's where you get a guy who is 7'4", who can get some easy baskets around the rim with post-ups. He is a 3-point threat, no doubt about it. But I think he also can do a lot of damage in that mid-range area, especially around the paint, and the Celtics haven't had that in a while.
And that's what killed them in the playoffs, right? I mean, just not having someone that could do that for you. On the opposing side, it was Joel Embiid doing that against you, so now they kind of have a response to that. And I love the way they would look against a team like the Miami Heat, which obviously if you're the Celtics, you have to keep that in mind. A team that, knocked you out of the playoffs and is probably going to come right back around and try to do it again. So, yeah, I from the very beginning, I just knew going into this offseason that they're going to address the front court and they're going to use one of their guards to do that. And did I think it was going to be Marcus? No. But do you get a better return? I don't think so, right, Max? Like, I can't see them getting a better return in terms, again, of addressing that particular part of their roster, right? Addressing the front court, bringing in front court help because they need it. Rob's not always healthy. Al's not getting any younger. I mean, we've been saying this for weeks now. So this is I think this is Brad Stevens' top choice. And I think when it came down to it in the final hour, when the name switched up and he had to pivot over to another team because he's like, look, I'm not going to wait for the Clippers to tell me no in the final hour. I'm going to set things up already. And I think this is a deal he probably already had lined up as a backup plan, because for Memphis to go ahead and pull the trigger as fast as they did, it just shows that, right? But again, I don't think this is a move where you're like, oh, well, man, really, this organization is like, we have to get rid of Marcus. We have a Marcus Smart problem. I don't think that was the case.
But really, is it Memphis or is it really Washington who, gets off an asset like that?
Yeah.
And what does Washington get back? They got Jones that came in. I don't think that, what did Washington really gain other than getting rid of a big salary?
Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing, though, right?
Maybe
it's
Washington
like, because of the new CBA. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just a serious salary dump.
Yeah.
Because Washington didn't get back anything that I looked at and went, wow, they're building for the future. I think they got a couple of picks and Jones and they went and got Jordan Poole. So Washington really is reconfiguring their whole as a team.
Yeah, and I think Brad knew that going into the offseason. Like he's had Porzingis on his radar, man. Like he knew what Washington's going to do. Washington showed them what they're doing, right? Giving up, just trying to shave off as much salary as they can and just hit the reset button.
But is it really that much of a salary dump that they did? They got rid of also Bradley Beal. Beal was involved.
That was the first domino.
So you're telling me you got Bradley Beal, you got Porzingis out of there. A couple of people right now are trying to get long-term contracts. Kyle Kuzma wants a long-term deal. He turned down, I think, $18 million a player option. So Washington is going to be interesting to see what they've done. But man, the way they pulled that trigger to get Porzingis out of there and what they got back in return, it really was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I mean, it seems like Boston and Memphis came up way bigger than anybody. You know what I mean? But as they say, right, Brad got the best player in the trade. I mean, that's always the where you want to be when you're trying to stretch this championship window out. And I think that's what he's doing, essentially. Hopefully he's not a rental.
There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that can find you match candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed match their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy because it's able to focus on the kind of candidates that you're looking for. Wean out the ones that you don't need and zero in on the ones that can really make a difference that are worth hiring. Candidates who invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who see it in search, according to US data. We get you one step closer to the hire by immediately matching you with quality candidates. Indeed does the hard work for you. Indeed shows you candidates whose resume on Indeed fit your job description immediately after you post, so you can hire faster. Indeed's hiring platform matches you with quality candidates instantly. Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you can pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements. Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring platform, delivering 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, according to TalentNest in 2019. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Maxwell. Offer good for a limited time. That's right, you can claim your $70 credit now at Indeed.com/Maxwell. That's Indeed.com/Maxwell. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Look, are Celtic fans going to look at this from afar with Marcus Smart leaving and think about the days that he controlled the initial point of attack, what he did on the defensive end? Are we going to, are Celtic fans, or the way that Derek White played this year, did he make Marcus Smart expendable? When you think about how Derek White was so good defensively, maybe that's what happened at the very end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that for sure. I mean, Derek White certainly put together the best season he's had since he's been in Boston. It was complete 180 compared to the guy who joined this team, mid-season in 2022. But I just look at it as, man, if the Clippers didn't back out, if they don't get cold feet, was Marcus still on the move? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I like the first trade a lot more than I like the second one, even though you do get those 2 first-round picks. But then the Celtics went ahead Thursday night and turned them into a sack of second rounders, man. Like, they picked 1 second rounder and then they got 4 futures.
I want you to look. This is my family unit over here.
Oh, are they more in the market right now?
And here they are right here. These were, one of them's a Marcus Smart hater right here. And one of them said Marcus has his hair colored green. Here's my beautiful.
That's Young Max. Yeah, I call him Young Max.
Oh, look at, she's gonna be on all over the screen right now. Ryan is on my podcast. We're looking at her sneakers, Josue. She got on the pink, the pink ones. She rolling like that. But this one right here was the one that said, what'd you say? The damn man, what'd he do with his hair? And what'd they do to him?
He was that devoted.
And what'd they do to him? You didn't say
now he's got a diet blue, I guess.
You didn't say track no deuce. You said they got his ass out of there. That's what you said. Oh my God. Oh man, this is, you know what? I hate
just like you, Max.
When they're like that, now they all of a sudden they don't know nothing anymore. But yeah, I'm just amazed just the way that, it's gone like this. I don't know. I'm just one of these people at the end of the day, I almost wish we were saying, run it back. Run it. Can we run it back? Because the team that you had and what they were able to do, I looked at it. They were ankle injury away from being in the finals.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, Max. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you bring back the exact same team, maybe you get the same exact results, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like you had to shake things up with this identity. You had to give that front court another edge, another edge. And I think that's what Porzingis provides, but you lost a big edge in the backcourt, man. Like, that was your bulldog, man. That was your heart and soul of the team. And 9 years is a really long time in the NBA, as I'm sure you can, attest to that. Seeing a player play 9 years, like, you don't see that. That doesn't happen often nowadays. It's rare.
I think I like what happened for Memphis in their situation.
Yeah, man. That's a good pickup. Great pickup for them.
You got a role model. You got a tough guy who's coming down there, who's ready, to toe the line like that. So it worked. It might work out well for him. And I'm just cautiously optimistic when it comes to Porzingis. Sean Elliott said in a podcast that we had, our podcast, he said he's seen where Porzingis has gone down to San Antonio and dominated games. Mm. But we've seen also the Porzingis sometimes that is so laid back that Celtics have dominated him. But then we've also seen it when he's scored a lot of baskets. So it's going to be a very interesting process when you think about. So who do you think your starting lineup is? I'm gonna let you out there. Who's your starting lineup right now?
That's a good question, Max, because you wonder. I mean, the way things are going, you probably go small, right? You put Derek White in there. You got Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, and then look, if you're not going to address that point guard position, then you got to pick between Al and Rob. I'm probably going to go Al, but he's not going to play every single night. He can't play second night of back-to-back. So I think it's interchangeable in a way. But I mean, I guess that kind of leads to my next question. I was going to ask you, I would like to see these guys go out and grab a veteran, some kind of, a veteran point guard, just to have that presence in the backcourt, just in case Brogdon goes down, you have that insurance.
I thought for a minute it could have been, and I thought the perfect landing spot for Chris Paul. I was like, wow, this could be the perfect landing.
That was my guy for if
Marcus leaves,
if he opts
Chris
out.
Paul comes in. I thought it was a perfect landing spot, but you still have Brogdon. And now you kind of question what's going on with that injury that the Clippers said, no, there's no way you're going to trade Brogdon because
and of all teams, right, Max?
Yeah.
The Clippers. Like, you guys don't worry about that stuff. What's going on?
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to that whole process is going to be one that I'm going to love to see. And like you said, we're talking Celtic fans down off the ledge right now. Give it a chance. Brad Stevens deserves an opportunity like that. Joe Mazzulla. So this is the coaching staff. I'm like you. There has, with all the things that have happened, I'd have to think there's a new infusion of talent, enthusiasm going along with this team right now by making that trade. Although a lot of, there's a lot of people said there was a gut punch that they got with Marcus Smart, but how many people in the media are absolutely celebrating right now with Marcus Smart being gone? Because there were a lot of haters out there. There was
especially the radio heads for sure.
Oh, the radio haters.
Man. They've been bitching about Marcus for 2-3 years now, ever since he became the starting point guard, essentially.
Yeah,
and he made strides in that. We got to remember that.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from somebody who's actually in Boston. Said, well, the other day said with the Marcus trade, they were mentioning your name. He said, and I think he went so far as saying that he was saying that Michael Hawley and your other Mike, he said they wanted to know what Max was thinking about this, how he felt about it. I'm like, why would they be thinking that? I don't make any moves or any decisions like that.
Because that's your guy. You're a big Marcus guy.
Yeah.
You know why? You know how I know you're his guy, or he's your guy, and vice versa? Because he confided in you to say that to tell us to shut the fuck up. Remember that? Tell him the guard report, saying, "Hey, tell your boys that I am." And he went out and got the pristine award of Defensive Player of the Year, an award that a guard hadn't won in a really long time.
That's your guys. That's your guys on the Garden Report. I just have to ask him a question on the air. I said, well, Marcus, how do you think about your detractors?
On air.
He said, on air. He goes, yeah, you know who them guys are. It's like, the guys, A. Sherrod, he said, you tell him to shut the fuck up. I was like, I said, this is
you go, whoa.
It was live radio. I'm like, well, damn, okay, bro. I got you. I hear what you're saying. So, yeah, Marcus has always been.
You're like, I'll relay that.
This is the thing I say Marcus has been passionate. And this is the thing I really like about Marcus. I don't think we're going to find anybody who's, here's our word right now, who is on the 100, the way Marcus Smart.
Yeah, he keeps it 100 for sure.
Many times on the defensive end. He has a highlight package right now that is going to be unreal. And people talk about highlight packages making of defending, but he had a lot of great shots that he was able to knock down. So I'm just I'm like everybody else. I'm a little down, but in some ways I'm a little apprehensive, but at the same time somewhat excited about having a bigger post presence in the paint.
This episode of the Cedric Maxwell Podcast is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/Boston to join today. What I love most about FanDuel is not only the in-game betting, but the spreads, parlays, the different kinds of way for you to make money. And it's fast, easy, and it goes right into your account. So don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/Boston to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademark used with permission.
Well, I think you feel that way because I can't think of another Celtics player who's just so damn proud to be a Celtic, man. Like that was Marcus. I mean, from day one, he always had that attitude. He had that, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to make you guys, a fan of mine. And that's what happened essentially. I mean, yeah, things got a little, people were split in some regards when he became the starting point guard and the late game execution. And sometimes he was taking some ill-advised shots, but for the most part, I mean, he just loved being here. He was a true Celtic at heart. And, it's a shock for sure. I mean, and it is for him, from what we're hearing.
Celtics got on that run. And I remember being on the elevator with him in Orlando. And this is about 2 years ago when the Celtics really got on the run. And it was late night. We were getting our bags after a trip from Atlanta. And he and I were the only one on the elevator. I said, man, you guys are playing well. He said, that's what happens when you let your fucking point guard handle the basketball. And so Marcus has been, when it's come to me, he's always kept on the 100 with me. And, it's just, but that's why I guess I'm going to miss him the way I will, like probably no other player right now that the Celtics have.
Yeah, man. Remember when they lost game 6? I'm like, what happened out there? He was like, it's all good. We'll be fine. We'll win the next one, then we'll win game 7, and we'll go to the next round. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was just one of those things where you saw it in his eyes, just like, he's not going to let this team lose. And again, the strides that he made as a point guard, you would love to see him finish it, go ahead, win a championship, banner 18. It's disappointing, but at the same time, Brad was going to get his guy, man. Like, Brad wasn't going to wait for the Clippers to say no. And he wasn't afraid. We gotta give him props for that. Like, that's his job. That's what he is supposed to do.
He rolled the dice.
Yeah.
Now, rolling the dice and finishing off our podcast right now. Question I want to ask you.
There's no surefire trades now. You got to take a risk.
I'm gonna ask you this: what color is Marcus Smart hair going to be next year?
It better be regular, man. But then you feel like he's got to go blue.
What? That's their color, man. They're like a grayish blue, something going on with his hair.
You can't just switch it up. They're gonna be like, well, we don't know you like that, And Celtics fans are gonna like that. They're gonna be like, whoa, you just got there, man. Like, I still see green in there.
One thing we know is not gonna be green. We can definitely probably say that whoever his stylist. His style right now is already getting the dye and saying, okay, we're getting this green out right now.
I remember media day at the beginning of the season. He came out, we had, same green hair and everything. And I put a picture up on Twitter. I'm like, Marcus Smart rocking the new hairdo, green hair, ready for the season. I got a commenter being like, on my tweet being like, wasn't it always green? Wasn't it green last year? And I thought about it. I was just like, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
And then you know what I said? I was just like, well, it looks greener this year. Damn it. It looks a little more green. It looks like he put another coat in there, right? But it's true. It was back-to-back years he had his hair like that. It's just, we got used to it.
Yeah, well, guys, again, thank you very much for joining us on our podcast. We just wanted to talk about Marcus.
Celtics fans, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. Wait till you see the team first, all right?
Yeah, let them play for a game, and then you can, you can chime in, but you get.
Well, these guys better not be done either, though. Right,
Mash that button for us,
subscribe.
And subscribe, and it's all going to be good, and we'll holler back at you guys as we like to say. We're gonna keep it on the what?
Keep it on 100. We'll have some trade ideas. We'll see what happens with this roster in about a week. We'll circle back. All right.
Sounds good. All right.